Hey guys! Okay, so this is part 2 of my 10 kids TV shows that made my childhood. And I'm a 90s kid, I will put that in for anyone that's watching this so you know what era we're going for. Okay, number 5. Da 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 da. Powerpuff Girls! I freaking love Powerpuff Girls. I still love it to this day, and I used to sit there and every single time it came on I would mouth the opening, you know, but Professor Udonium accidentally blah 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 blah. I can't remember it off by heart, but yeah, I would do that every single time. I love it. Blossom, Bubbles and Buttercup. My favourite was Bubbles, of course, and my friend, who was a guy at the time, had like a Bubbles teddy bear thing, like a Beanie Baby Bubbles, and I was a bit like, wow, you're a dude, and that's kind of cool. So yeah, Powerpuff Girls. Powerpuff Girls ran for 6 seasons, and it ran from 1998 to 2005, which is quite late. I thought it might have been a little bit earlier. I'm sorry, I keep looking down, but my notes are there. Yeah, I think the main thing about Powerpuff Girls was the fact that it was about 3 supposedly cute and sweet little girls. They were drawn slightly like manga kids, like they had big eyes, you know, little ponytails, and they were supposed to be all cute, but they kicked some ass, and they had quite a bit of attitude. Especially Buttercup, she was just a cow most of the time. Blossom was just a bossy bitch, and Bubbles was just too cute for her own good. Yeah, I mean, once again, it is all a million different episodes, so it's hard to kind of pick ones. But I do remember, you know, like the one where Bubbles gets captured and she gets put in a machine where they're kind of torturing her, and these others all taking the piss like, you can't hack it, you can't hack it. Yes, she can. She proved them wrong. And then there was the one where they all wanted to be their own superhero, didn't want to be part of Powerpuff Girls anymore, and it all just went wrong. I think Buttercup called herself Mange, and she only came out at night, which sucked because all the crime was happening in the day. The mayor made me laugh usually, because he was just one of those bumbling old mayor types they have, quite stereotypical. It was the villains that was, because usually, even in cartoons, they don't have that many villains. This show had quite a few. I mean, of course, there was Mojo Jojo, who I loved listening to. Mojo Jojo, just every time, just talking about the same thing. Of course, then there was him, who was genuinely disturbing for a child. I mean, not only did he speak very effeminately, they had that weird echo thing going on. And then he'd be like, and they're just, oh no, don't do that. And then, of course, they only ever referred to him as him, which was even funnier. There was Fuzzy Lumpkins, the hick hillbilly. I'm not sure what he was, because he had these little antenna things with little balls on the end of him. I'm not quite sure what he was. He was like a bear or something. He was pink as well, I think. And he had a banjo all the time, and he didn't really have much of an agenda. He was like, they're in my woods again, they've pissed me off again, I'm gonna go get them. Who else? There was the Amoeba Boys. There was the Rowdy Rough Boys, who were like the opposite of the Powerpuff Girls. They were just boy form. There was the Gangrene Gang, and I think the leader was called Ace or Snake. One of those two. And he always had like a little tash. And I just looked at him and thought he's like just like some 15-year-old boy. You know, he always had the sunglasses on, tried to look really cool. And I was like, dude, you're green. It ain't gonna happen. Who else was there? I think I wrote a couple of the ones that I wasn't sure about down. Oh, there was only one that I wrote down that I didn't know of already. There was Princess Morbucks, who I now remember. And she was just some weird little princess girl who just got pissed off because Powerpuff Girls wouldn't let her have what she wanted. I do remember an episode where they got fed up with saving everyone all the time, so they let the townspeople do it, and the townspeople were fucking rubbish at saving themselves. And they just had to kind of shout down from a cloud what to do. I think they had to get rid of like a dinosaur or something. Yeah, that was pretty much it. Powerpuff Girls had an awesome theme tune, like an opening really, and they always had an awesome little ending. I think the narrator guy always said something different every episode. It was just a good episode. It was just about 3 little girls with very different personalities fighting fictional crime with non-human villains, and it was good. It was fun. Yeah. Okay, that was number 5. Number 4. Oh, I love number 4. Fairly Odd Parents. I loved Fairly Odd Parents. This is actually one of my all-time favourite shows ever in anything. This trumps like The Simpsons and all that kind of stuff. I love Fairly Odd Parents. And I recently watched the live-action movie they made with Drake Bell. Is that his surname? Drake Bell. I'm going to go with Drake Bell. From Drake and Josh. Josh Peck is looking hot these days. Jesus Christ, he's lost so much weight. He looks great. Don't know why I came out with that, but there you go. Drake Bell, yeah, that was a good live action movie. It did justice to the TV series. Basically, the show was about Timmy Turner, who was like a 10-year-old boy, and he had fairy godparents. And I think kind of one of the hooks is that he kept them longer than he should have done. But he had two fairy godparents, and they granted his wishes, and they got into all kind of shenanigans and escapades and trouble, and then got themselves out of trouble. And it was kind of his interactions with all the other characters in there. There were his parents who weren't really that involved, kind of like the parents in Cow Chicken. And then there was a Vicky, the babysitter, who was an absolute bitch. Oh my god, she was horrible. Although I do like the episode though when he makes her think that he wants to go older, so he grows older as a wish, and then tells her that his name's Gar. I think he's a Swedish supermodel, and then she just runs around the whole time looking for Gar. Yeah, she's just a horrible cow. She's evil. There was Tootie, who was like his love interest. She was a total geek. I mean, these are kids, not supposed to, but she was obsessed with him, and she was always trying to like kind of kidnap him so she could keep him in her cupboard and stuff, and just love him and just be like all kissy with him, and he hated it, didn't like her. And then who else was there apart from obviously there was his name was Jurgen, and he was basically a rip of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he was the fairy godfather. He was like an enforcer, and he was always enforcing the rules because they had this massive rule book. And he would kind of just sort of come down on Timmy Turner whenever he did anything wrong. I'm missing someone very important. I know who I'm missing, apart from AJ and his other friend, Mr. Crocker, his teacher, of course, who's constantly convinced that fairy godparents exist. Throughout the seasons, he increasingly becomes more and more convinced that Timmy Turner has fairy godparents, and he's constantly trying to expose him. And he always does that thing where he goes, fairy godparents, and then he kind of contorts in different ways. It's so funny. In the movie, in the movie they actually do that quite comedically in the live action, and it's actually a pretty good movie as well. You should watch the movie because it's kind of Timmy Turner's now an adult. He's like 20 something, and he's still in school, and he's still acting like a 10-year-old. He doesn't want to grow up because he doesn't want to lose his fairy godparents. And Tootie's grown up now as well, and she's beautiful, and he instantly falls in love with her. And it's kind of, the film's kind of about him progressing, learning how to grow up so that he can show her that he's a man, because she's like some activist or something. And of course Crocker's there trying to find out his fairy godparents. But it's really good, you know. It's a really interesting show because there's a lot of fun kid stuff. Every kid wants fairy godparents. You all want to be able to make as many wishes as you want. I think it's the arrogance of the show is that they all, you know, he's like, yeah, I'm going to make a wish for like massive ice cream up to the sky. Just ridiculous stuff. But it's fun stuff. Fun, ridiculous stuff. Okay, number 3. We're getting down to the nitty gritty here, people. Number 3. Goosebumps. Now, I didn't read the books at all. I'm just double checking in case there's anything. Oh yeah, by the way, Fairly Odd Parents ran for 8 seasons, just so you know, in case you wanted to know. It ran from 2001 to 2006, and then they cut it off, and then it started, it was revived in 2008, and it's going to the present now. Okay, Goosebumps though. Goosebumps, number 3. Okay, Goosebumps obviously was the TV show was based off of R.L. Stein's books. I didn't read any of his books, although I did own 2 of them. I think I might still have them somewhere in my room, but I don't know. One of them's got a crocodile on it with a bloody lake, and the other one's a door with some blood dripping down it. So if you know what they're called, let me know. Maybe I'll try and find them and give them a watch. Yeah, the TV show was good. It wasn't the best. You'll find out what was the best in the next 2 segments, but Goosebumps was good. I mean, I think it was pretty much, I think it was Canadian, the whole thing was Canadian. And it was just one of those shows that was just sort of standout, you know. I love anthology stuff in general, and I know this isn't an anthology, but it kind of is because it centres around the same format. But it was some of them were genuinely terrifying. I mean, the first episode, of course, everyone remembers the haunted mask. Everyone knows Mary Beth. She puts on the mask, and then eventually it sticks to her face, and she starts becoming the mask and the demon in it. And everyone remembers that, and that was genuinely terrifying as a kid. I mean, I'm not quite sure how old was I. If that came out, this started in 1995. and it only ran till 1998. But that was in America. It ran for 3 years, or both America and Canada, I don't know. But in the UK, it started in 1996 and ran till 2000. So it was kind of already done by the time we kind of saw it, but it was genuinely terrifying. I would have been about 10. It scared the shit out of me. I did actually own one Goosebumps video, because they're only all released on VHS. They released 10 of them in the UK on VHS, and they released 16 of them in the USA. But I owned Night of the Living Dummy 3 with Hayden Christensen in it, which I watched it for years and I didn't even know, and then I found it one day a few years ago. I've thrown it away now, unfortunately, because I had to get rid of all my videos because I just don't have enough room in this room. It's very, very small. But yeah, Night of the Living Dummy 3 was scary. It was Slappy the Dummy. Holy shit. I don't really like dummies anyway. Dummies freak me out, even though I do have a few dummy movies. They do still scare me, because it's, oh no, because especially when they run, oh, do you know what, I'm actually scaring myself. I'm just going to start talking about that now. I need to keep looking behind myself, I don't like it. Yeah, so Night of the Living Dummy is the one I owned. Goosebumps always tended to end with people getting killed or eaten or worse. It was quite dark. I mean, it wasn't dark enough not to be a kids show, but it definitely needed a rating. I'm not sure if I wrote down anything about a rating, so I keep touching my hair, but it's getting in my face. Oh yeah, they did put it on Fox Kids, which was good because Nickelodeon had obviously their own stuff, and so did like things like Cartoon Network. But it was always between Nick and Fox Kids. It was always it was like a sort of unspoken rivalry, because they did have very different shows. So it was kind of a good rivalry. I don't think I've written anything else out, but yeah, it ran for 4 seasons. I thought there would have been more, but I think sort of the main ones that people remember are Night of the Living Dummy and The Haunted Mask. I, however, remember It Came From Beneath the Sink, because I love Catherine Isabel when she was in that, and it was about a sponge. It was a killer man-eating sponge, people. And it was really weird, and I always thought to myself that it looked like a piece of cake, like a sponge cake, but it was just a sponge with teeth and stuff like that. How messed up is that? Who the fuck thought that up? Oh, I know, let's just make... They're like, right, we need a killer for this, we need a monster. Ideas, go. Sponge. Either way, I remember it, so that's good enough. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for Goosebumps, because obviously I think everyone... I mean, I'm sure you all remember this stuff. You don't really need me telling you about it, but I'm sure you all remember it. But you might have wanted to know when it was on. Or that I remember an episode you do. I don't know, there was a bunch of them. And obviously there was a bunch of famous people in them. You know, a lot of famous celebrities now made their kind of debuts in those shows. But I think I'm going to leave it there for Goosebumps, because I did watch it, but I didn't watch it a hell of a lot. But it was still a brilliant show. Okay, number 2. Sister, Sister. I love Sister, Sister. Obviously, that's why it's in my list. Sister, Sister is number 2 for a very good reason, because I love Sister, Sister so much. And they've released season 1 and 2 on DVD. Obviously, they're region 1. But screw that, I'll just order them and import them, and I'll watch them here. Because I love Sister, Sister. By the way, if any of my friends are watching this, you can totally buy me that for Christmas. Sister, Sister ran for 6 seasons, and it ran from 1994 to 2000 and... No, it didn't. It ran until 1999. I vaguely remember the ending of the whole thing. I'm not going to ruin it for anyone in case you didn't see it. I'm sure you can find it online somewhere, so I'm not going to put the clip up of the end of the whole saga, but I do remember it. I remember watching the very first episode when it first aired. I miss those days. I don't really watch TV much anymore, but I miss those days when I did watch that kind of stuff. I think everyone remembers the first episode at least, obviously, when, you know, the whole sweater, sweater. And the other one's like, sweatshirt, sweatshirt. And that was just fun. That was a great episode. I think everyone remembers the episode where they go and see Cool Dog. So stupid. Cool Dog. And I think that's probably one of the most famous episodes, actually. I think it's because they used to rerun the same episodes, and they do that with all shows. So you tend to only see the same 10 episodes in reruns. There was, of course, the one where they get lost and they're on the bus trying to get back to Maple Drive. There was the one... Oh, there was the brilliant one where Tia had her massive hair malfunction. You remember when Tamara had a really nice hairdo? It was the first time they straightened any of the girls' hairs in it. I think it was probably around season 3 or something like that. And they straightened the hair. And then Tia tried to do the same and she just got this massive hair. It was amazing. I honestly couldn't understand how they got her hair that big. I mean, there must have been a wig of some kind. Kian and Kel were in an episode, of course, and they famously got dissed by the girls. I think she said something like, put your Nikes on your bikies and keep on riding, or something like that, which was quite funny at the time. They had a load of guest spots. I mean, obviously Brittany Murphy was in the first season, and maybe the second season. They had the famous sleepover episode where Brittany Murphy's boyfriend crawls through the window. Who else was in it? I think Ryan Gosling was in it. I think I've got a couple of... Oh, the Olsen twins, of course they were in it. I think that's pretty much it for famous people that I've heard of. I don't really know much about the other people. Yeah, I mean, there was some brilliant... Because it was just about two twin girls who were separated at birth and they found each other in a department store. And then, of course, they all move in together and hilarity ensues. I mean... I don't think there was a person in life that didn't love Roger. You know, call me. Seriously. Roger was epic. I loved him. I mean, I totally would have turned him down too. Because he was an annoying little shit in the first few seasons. He really was. He was annoying. But he was annoying in a good way. It was like, you're glad he's there. He's fun. And then, of course, he got seriously hot in the later episodes, which was a total bonus. So, you know, you could still watch him, but for a totally different reason. Yeah, I mean, he really did add to the show, you know, in his own little way. But yeah, I mean, I think Tia and Tamara Mowry are just really good. They were really great as those characters. They did a really good job in this show. Because obviously, I think because obviously they're twins, that's a hook straight away. But the fact that they didn't know anything about each other and they were supposed to be two completely different people, even though they looked the same. They could play up on the similarity angle and they could play up on the difference angle, so they could get themselves into a lot of trouble and a lot of mischief and things like that, because obviously they had different pasts, you know, so they could have people from Tia's past come back. I think they did in one episode. What was her name? They're the one where they do the double dutch and they deal with an emotional sort of episode. They didn't do much emotional stuff in this whole saga, I must say. I mean, they did some stuff, but it's not like they dealt with anything that was really hardcore. But then I don't think they could have done, because the girls were so squeaky clean, you know, American girls, clean cut image, that they couldn't really have done anything too hardcore, because it would have just sort of messed up their image, I think. Although they did do Twitches recently, Disney movie, not Disney, Disney Channel movie I should say, which was kind of funny, watching them, I don't know, kind of play teenagers again, I guess, because they're like 30 now. But that was quite a good movie, Twitches. My laptop's making a really funny noise and it's like it's going to propel itself into space. Okay, forget about the noise. It's time for number one. We've made it, people. My number one, most coveted, beloved TV show of my childhood is Are You Afraid of the Dark? Oh, that's meant to be a flame, by the way, you know, when the the opening when they light the flame. Sorry, I only had a black marker and it doesn't really work, does it? Are You Afraid of the Dark? Oh my god, Are You Afraid of the Dark was my favourite TV show. And it was always right on at the end. It was on at like 5:30, so it ended at 6. It was always on Nickelodeon. I'd get home, I'd watch like Doug and things like that, and then Are You Afraid of the Dark would come on. Sorry, I don't know why I'm looking up there. Oh, there are so many episodes. I've watched them all, and you can watch them all online. I've seen every episode they've ever made. I think there might be like one, and I watched the movie. I don't know if they class it as a movie. They class it online as 3 episodes, but it is a movie. The Tale of the Silver Sight, which is pretty good, but the ending's a bit disappointing. I don't think you should bother it. And if you're really expecting a great movie, don't, because it's good, but the ending's a total anticlimax. Oh, there were some brilliant episodes in this. Of course, Laughing in the Dark. I think that was the first episode. Or it might have been Station 109. I think Laughing in the Dark was the first episode where they do Bozo the Clown. Of course, there was the Crimson Clown. There was some recurring characters in this. The basic premise of this, as with Goosebumps, but a little bit better, obviously, was a bunch of kids sitting around and they would tell ghost stories, and then you would watch the ghost stories play out, and at the end they would wrap it up. I've got their names actually because I forgot their names. There was Kiki, Frank, Betty Ann, Gary, Tucker, Sam, David, Eric and Kristen in the first sort of few seasons. They're the ones that a 90s kid would remember because they changed the lineup obviously as they got older. It ran from Halloween 1990 all the way through to 2000, which is quite a long time, hence why they changed the lineup, sorry. It ran for 7 seasons. The last 2 seasons kind of got really shit. I mean, they'd run out of ideas, they must have done, you know? I mean, there's only so many times you can have a ghost train, you know, or a haunted house, or an old legend where you've accidentally stumbled on the grave of some random person. Oh, that's an episode I remember quite a lot that actually scared the shit out of me the first time I saw it. The Tale of Old Man Corcoran. It's a pretty famous episode with the kids playing hide and seek in the graveyard. Watch it. It's freaky. Obviously the Tale of the Dream Girl was one of my personal favourites. Another personal favourite would have been Tale of Locker 22 with the French girl who comes and figures out that she can go back in time in her school and she has to prevent a disaster. I like Locker 22, that's a good one. The Long Ago Locket, that was another one. Station 109 is actually pretty good. I do like that one. And they were good. There was some good characters. Actually, I think one of my most personal favourites has got to be the Tale of the Ghastly Grinner. I think that was one I watched the most. I liked the kid in it, and I thought it was quite cute. The kid and the geeky girl kind of having that little mini love interest in. But the Ghastly Grinner was, oh, when he slimed people, when the people were like, you know, laughing, that was terrifying. It really was, because it was just they were laughing and all this fucking blue shit was coming down their face and they were all made up to look like sort of zombie face. It was horrible. Yeah, Ghastly Grinner was a brilliant one. There's so many. I'm not going to bother listing too many because you've got your own personal favourites and you probably do remember them quite well. I totally wanted to throw that stuff into the fire at the beginning and make it go pew. That looks so cool. I don't know if there's any more notes that I've got. There was a bunch of random people in this as well. I think Nev Campbell was in an episode I remember where she got trapped in a room. I think it was like a fear episode. Ryan Gosling was in this as well. They were kind of all in the same stuff, you know. It was part Canadian, part American. Cinar was the Canadian company, but it was Nickelodeon that broadcast it, which is American. So it's kind of a partnership. I think that's pretty much it for this because, again, you know, you all know the show. But I do like this better than Goosebumps. One comment that I made on YouTube a little while ago is that generally, not in every episode, but in the majority of episodes, in Are You Afraid of the Dark, there's always a happy ending. It's always a morality tale. If you do this, you will be okay. If you get involved and you're innocent, you'll be fine. There wasn't usually any sort of... There was no gore or real scares. I mean, there was some when it was like clowns and things. Yeah, it was kind of scary. But you know, it was basically the bullies and all that. They ended up doing the right thing in the end. Usually, I think the Pinball Wizard is the pinnacle one of that not happening. Obviously, in the Pinball Wizard, there is no happy ending. There's a couple of other ones, but I think that's the one that most people remember the most for not having a happy ending. Goosebumps was the opposite. It didn't matter if you were good. You got fucking eaten. Or killed. Or whatever. It didn't matter. Sometimes there was a happy ending. That's true. But it usually ended on a scream. You know, it would be, oh man, we're safe now. And then the thing would come back and you'd go, ah. And then it would end. You know, it usually was the opposite, you know, which is kind of what I like. There was a difference. You know, it didn't matter how great you were, how innocent. Or even if you did the right thing at the end. You were fucked either way. Of course, I've got to mention, sorry, I know I'm talking about Are You Afraid of the Dark, but I think I do have to mention the Horrorland Goosebumps episode because that has got my favourite bit in it with the girl who's had her head cut off at the guillotine. She turns her head round and she goes, "Don't go on the guillotine ride, sharp turns." That was epic. I love that bit. But yeah, Are You Afraid of the Dark, people? My #1 show. I love that show. I still watch it to this day on YouTube because you can watch most of the episodes. They're just really entertaining, you know. They're just, and because they're only like 25 minutes long, it's not hard to watch them. But yeah, that's my top 10, and I'm going to stop now because it's getting kind of late and I've got a massive headache. But I hope you watched it. If you did, I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, I hope you go watch these shows, or at least look them up. You should at least look up their theme tunes, because most of the theme tunes for these shows are brilliant. That's my top 10. Coming up as of the 1st of December, I'm going to be doing 12 Days of Christmas movie reviews. So I'm going to do a Christmas film once a day throughout December for 12 days. I think I'll probably start the first one this Saturday coming. I'm also going to do a follow-up to this, which is 10 childhood TV shows from your childhood, 90s kids, that you've forgotten about. So it'll be a quicker one because I'm not really going to go into it. I'm just going to kind of name them and remind people of them. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. I've got a hell of a lot of reviews that I'm planning on doing. Loads of top 5s, loads of top 10s. And I hope you guys like watching them. Hopefully I'll be able to sort out some sort of editing software to go with this webcam, so that I can at least make these a little bit more interesting and sort out the fucking lighting on this crappy camera. Look, if I get closer, I actually have to wear bright red lipstick because you can't see my lid. Look, it's really, really dark red, and that's how fucked up this lighting is. But anyway, I'm ending this video now. I hope you enjoyed it.